Happy Good News Friday. My name is Diana Saylor.
I'm Mike Razook.
And welcome. What a great Zoom in week we've had. Mike, we've talked about taxes, estate planning,
deficits,
all great stuff. But today we want to focus on some good news. We could all use some good news this year and in our lives, and we want to smile. So before we get started, we have to let everybody know that we're being recorded. And to start off things, we want to introduce you to Jenny Stejna. She is a 103-year-old grandmother from Massachusetts. She was the first person at her nursing home to contract COVID-19. Her grandchildren thought that she wasn't going to make it, and they said their goodbyes to her. And magically enough, she recovered a week later, and she celebrated with an ice cold Bud Light.
What better way to do it? I mean, who needs champagne when you got Bud Light, right, Diana?
I guess, yeah. So it's super cute. So we're glad she's healthy and she recovered, and good for you, Jenny.
Absolutely. You know, another thing that people may have missed is there's dramatically less traffic on the freeway.
Yes.
I know I've been enjoying it. It's a lot easier to get to work. It's about a seven mile commute. And now I could get here probably in about 5-6 minutes. It was taking 15 or 20. So when we look at the statistics, Diana, they said that the average American spends about 54 hours in traffic, and it costs about $90 billion in productivity for the average company. So it's pretty amazing to see less traffic, and it's equated about 60 million hours of time saved for people since about March. So more time with families, more time being able to be productive. So very interesting statistic.
Absolutely, and the traffic has been amazing. So yeah. The next thing we want to show or share with you is basically, these are headlines or things that we saw on Instagram or whatever that we really, really enjoyed. And this one is interesting in that there was a kidney donation in Italy, and it was in an area where there wasn't a helicopter access. So what they did is they took a Lamborghini Huracan and they outfitted it with a police computer, lights, refrigeration, and they were able to transport that kidney in 2 hours, which would have normally taken 6 hours to transport it. So it was amazing to see. And there was a cute little thing at the end of the Instagram post that said, basically, become good news and go really fast doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine trying to outrun that on the freeway.
Right.
Not going to happen. Well, another big headline that people might have missed in 2020 was, I mean, Diana, this is kind of hits home close to us. The Dow hit 30,000.
30,000.
Absolutely amazing. So that was November 24th. And I mean, it was a new high. And I just remember getting a text message. It seems like yesterday, but I mean, at this point, it was a couple of years ago. It was from my father-in-law, and he said, Dow 20,000, what's next? And I just replied back, 21. So hopefully Dow 31,000 is next.
Yes, we'll get there at some point, hopefully soon, right? The other thing that we wanted to bring to people's attention is those were headlines, but things that we started to see happening this year, trends that we saw this year. And one thing that we've all noticed is people are getting outdoors. They're shutting off the TV, they're getting off the computer, and they're going outside. National parks have shown record numbers. If you're a camper, people are buying RVs, Glamis is packed, boating. People are really just taking this opportunity and, from the monotony of the lockdowns, and they're just getting outside, which is a great thing.
Yeah, less screen time. And it's even hitting home on the local hiking trails. It's hard to find a parking spot sometimes. And so you're just constantly running into people, and it's new faces. So it's nice to see people getting out, enjoying nature. And, we have such a beautiful country to enjoy. Another thing that kind of goes along with that. So, me, I'm a bike fanatic, love mountain biking. And there's actually been like a third massive bike revival in the United States. So it's kind of interesting. You go to a bike shop, you see empty shelves. So high demand, lots of people wanting to get into the sport. Again, you go out into the hills, there's just a ton of people out there, and again, new faces. And it's crazy because you'll see lead times of 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to get a bicycle, even if you're ordering online. So a lot of demand, lots of people getting into biking, and it's a great healthy sport. So even though we can't go to the gym, there's still nice, healthy alternatives. So it's pretty interesting. Its sales are risen about 121% for the average bike company. And my father-in-law had to drop his bike off to get some service. 4 months. It took 4 months for him to get it back. It was that long of a wait time.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a good thing though. People are active and they're spending, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, definitely helps.
The other thing that we saw, or we have seen in 2020, is that people are really trying to just make the best of the pandemic. And so in this case, it was a video that we found that was really, really cute. It was in the UK, and these two boys, this family, the boys didn't understand why they couldn't go out to eat. And so their mom and dad did something very, very cute to just help that situation and make it fun for them. Let's take a look.
Good evening, welcome to Mum and Daddy's restaurant. Have you got a table booked this evening? Yes. What's the name? Nicole. Check. There we go. Evan and Lucas? Yes. Table for two? Yes. Okay, would you just like to follow me to your table?
Okay. Lucas, mommy's go first.
Sir, here.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's your seat. Here's your menu for you.
Thank you.
And your menu. Okay. Here you go, sir. Just a little white cream for your hands. Give them a wee wash. So, have you been here before to Mum and Daddy's restaurant, or is this your first time?
This is not our first
Your first time, okay. And what about your first time as well?
Nice Mommy and Daddy's restaurant.
Mum and Daddy's restaurant, right. Well,
I get teary-eyed every time I watch that. So adorable.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice because families are finding new ways to connect, even if it's not being able to go out to restaurants. I mean, it's cracking up old cookbooks, finding new recipes and cooking together. So, more and more people are getting to enjoy nice home cooked meals. So good trend. Another one that we're seeing is actually families are coming together around board games again.
Yeah.
So you look at companies like Hasbro, they're reporting 20% increases in sales on board games. So, those classics that you and I got to grow up with, Candyland, Monopoly, Sorry, some of those fun ones. It's kind of a nice little nostalgic effect. So I think you've been playing lots of games with your kids too, right, Diana?
Yes, we have. We have family game night. So it's Candyland, Monopoly. It's nice to see that people are going back to board games and getting off the TV and the computer.
Yeah, lots of nice classics, and even chess is making a massive revival. I don't know if you got to catch the Queen's Gambit on Netflix, but that's caused a lot of people getting out there and getting excited about chess again. So
it's great.
Yeah, very exciting to see.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I hear it's really good.
Yeah, it is a good show.
Nice. And the other thing that we have learned this year is that with the pandemic and lockdowns and everything, we've had to do distance learning and homeschooling for our children. And so we have found, or I have found personally, it's hard. It's been very challenging, but I think there is just a newfound respect for teachers and just recognizing them for the heroes that they are. So that was one thing that I noticed in 2020, and just a more appreciation for the daycare people, daycare and teachers.
Yeah, lots of people having to do homeschool and just getting to see this isn't an easy task. And I know you've been having to work with that with your kids too, right?
Yeah, so my son and my daughter both are being school distance learning, and it was my son's first experience with kindergarten. So you can imagine what it was like trying to rile up 25 kindergartners on a Zoom call. So we're just trying to get through it, but we appreciate the teachers very, very much.
Good, yeah, it's probably hurting Cass with that young of a crowd.
Yes.
Well, 2020 has also had a lot of major accomplishments. And so we wanted to touch on some of the neat things that we saw happen this year. And so, one of the big ones, it's a little obvious, but I mean, there's been a lot of developments in medical research, so not necessarily just related to the COVID vaccine, but there's been a lot of treatments with antiviral, which is massive. I mean, you think about the fact that people tend to live with viruses almost their entire lives. Mm-hmm. And so to actually have something that might be able to treat that and cure people would be phenomenal. And then one that kind of hits home with me is they've made some pretty big strides with Alzheimer's. So, I got to live with my grandma with Alzheimer's for over 12 years. And so just seeing some new possibilities on the horizon is just wonderful to see.
Yeah, let's hope the FDA does approve that Alzheimer's
Right.
treatment. That would be amazing and change people's lives.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing that we saw earlier this year and about a month ago is changes and new strides in space exploration. So if you missed it, earlier this year, May 30th, SpaceX, they successfully launched 2 astronauts to the International Space Station. And then a month ago, launched 4 astronauts to the space station. They're still there. They'll be back in the spring, I think, of next year. But the significance of that is astounding. I mean, think about it. So you have a joint venture with NASA and a private company, SpaceX. And so the great thing about that is they're trying to make space travel cost efficient and maybe allow somebody like you and us, our paying customers, to explore space. And they're actually talking about that might being a possibility next year.
Oh, I mean, that'd be pretty interesting to think about, your next vacation in space instead of Europe or, some other
Yes.
countries. So very, very interesting development. And yeah, I don't know, did you get to watch the first launch, Diana?
I did. It kind of looked like a comet, or it was. If you didn't know what was happening,
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening. And so I walked out and just saw the big green light, and I almost thought we were getting invaded by aliens. I mean, it is 2020, right? Anything can happen this year. Yeah. So another thing that we've seen happen this year that is just phenomenal is I'm a big animal fan. And so we've actually seen a lot of rare species make some pretty strong comebacks this year. And so a really interesting one that caught my eye was actually in 2018, a group of researchers went to Antarctica to look for blue whales, do some counting, and they had one sighting, Diana, just one.
Wow.
Well, this year they went back and they had 36 different sightings of 55 different animals. So, wonderful news with blue whales. Another one that caught my eye was actually in Colorado. They had legislature on the November 3rd election to reintroduce the gray wolf into Colorado. So very exciting. It did pass, and it means maybe we might start seeing them in more Western states. So good news for the gray wolf. And then white rhinos. So they've had a pretty big comeback. So remember, these were once thought to be extinct completely. And then in the 1900s, they just came across the herd of about 100 animals. Now there's over 20,000 white rhinos. So
Wow.
very, very big increase in their population, and hopefully, more conservation efforts and anti-poaching continues to help them succeed.
Absolutely. That's great. The other thing that we saw this year is that 2020 marks the most women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Last year, there were 33 and 4 more were elected this year. So there are 37 out of 500. We have some ways to go, but at least we're making great strides in just 48 years. So the first woman CEO was elected in 1972. So it's just great to see.
Right, and it's not just happening in the private sector, it's in public sector too, right? We saw a lot of new representatives, senators entering that are women, and so in a short time, a pretty big stride.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, the next thing that we wanted to focus on is just, what really makes America shine. And so there was some pretty big developments this year. And so, one that all of us should really be excited about is the success of Operation Warp Speed. So, to kind of put this in perspective, the last vaccine that they developed in a short time that everybody was excited about was 4 years, back in 1967 for the mumps. And so the average vaccine, Diana, it takes about 10 to 15 years to develop. So in a very short time, we've been able to cut some of the red tape, get fast tracks on FDA approval. And so hopefully very soon, we'll see the distribution of vaccine for COVID.
Yeah, it's a true testament of our medical advancement, right?
Right.
So that's pretty amazing information. The other thing that we've also seen is, companies have changed productions and just started to really participate in contributing to the COVID-19 efforts. So if you think
Right.
of companies like Ford or Tesla or GM, they're making ventilators or respirators or masks. And so everyone's coming together and doing what we need to do to help out with the COVID-19.
Right. I mean, even the company that made my mountain bike, from the picture that we could see up there, they started making face shields so that they could distribute them to frontline workers at the hospitals. So yeah, big, small, all kinds of companies coming together. Also kind of along that theme, I find that Americans always come together when there's a crisis, and with COVID, it's been no different. And so one story that really stood out to me was there was this charity group in South Florida, and people within that community, their rent was starting to come due, their stimulus was starting to run out. So this was July, and they said, we want to write people a $500 check to help keep them in their homes. And so they started a GoFundMe page, and they had a goal of $20,000. They wanted to help 40 households, and they broke that goal within 11 minutes.
Wow.
That's absolutely amazing. And so they ended up having to write over 1,000 checks and raised over $500,000 to help keep people in their homes. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing.
Right. So, there's been a lot of fun news around the world, but also a lot of exciting developments with, the team at KWB too.
Yes.
And so we wanted to just share some updates with what's happened here. So Amanda, when I asked her, what's been one of the best parts about 2020 in your life? She said, well, Mike, I got to work at KWB. So, welcome to the team, Amanda. We're excited to have you. She was living in Hawaii, which almost got completely shut down. And so she got to move back out closer to family and then to us. So we're happy to have her. And then with Vanessa's son, Seth, actually got to start college this year. So he's attending the U of R. It's virtual, but he's going to be studying business. So we're proud of him and happy for their family.
Yes, congratulations, the Fox family. And Igor, he got a new apartment and got a new car. That's very snazzy.
And loud.
And loud. And he's recovering nicely from wrist surgery that he had last year. And I just had one, so we're twinning. But he's doing well. And Mike, what's been good for you for 2020?
Well, Cherie and I actually broke ground on a new backyard. So, we've been scripting and saving for about 3 years now. And so we're finally in a position that we feel comfortable to start. So, they tore out all of our grass and we're just getting started with that. So that's big news for us. Also this year, I have to really hand it to Cherie. She's been amazing at just making sure that we reconnect with friends. So it's amazing how much time goes by when you don't even realize, I haven't even seen my best friend for 6 or so months. So she's made a monthly habit of inviting a couple friends over or going over to their houses just so that we can spend time together.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great job, Cherie.
What about you? What's happening with the Saylor family?
This has been an exciting year for the Saylor family. So I celebrated, my husband and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary. So that was nice. And 20 years here at KWB.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And then we welcomed my niece 2 months ago. My brother and his wife have been trying to conceive for years. So this was amazing. So can't wait to see her, trying to be, safe, but yeah, happy to have her. She's super cute.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like babies are kind of the theme here this year because Emily got to welcome her second grandson. So Bradley, absolutely adorable.
So cute.
I love those eyes that had. It's just the best picture I think I've seen this year. So she got to welcome Bradley in March, and she's also had some other excitement. So her daughter is also expecting in April, and it'll be a granddaughter for her and Sal. And then she got to move into a house just down the street from us. So welcome to the neighborhood, Emily. We're excited to have you, and exciting year for her.
Yeah, neighbors, exciting. Congrats, Emily. Then we have Carrie. We asked Carrie what he was happy about with 2020, and he said he was thankful that nobody here at KWB has contracted the COVID-19 virus. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, we're all trying to be safe here. And also he was able to take some time off and go fishing. And I think he caught about 70 marlin and 9 wahoo released. But yeah, we're glad he could get away and enjoy his time.
Yeah, just have a little bit of fun. Good job. And Quinnen's had quite a lot of excitement this year. So, him and his wife moved into a new house. He finally got one with a workshop. So that was always kind of a dream. So dreams do come true. And then most recently, just Wednesday, he got to welcome his daughter, Lainey, to the world. So we're very excited for them. We're letting him have a little bit of paternity leave to enjoy the time with the family. But very, very big congratulations to Quentin and Brittany.
Absolutely. Look how cute she is.
I know.
And it's been an exciting year for the Bub family. And then we end with Rachel. Rachel and her boyfriend Stu were were engaged in September. Congrats again, Rachel. So they're planning their wedding. And the other thing that they have done is they adopted a puppy a couple of weeks ago. And so we'd like to introduce you to Riley. She's super cute.
She's so cute. You probably aren't going to get her back, Rachel.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so congrats. So we just really wanted to bring a lot of positivity to you all. And we hope that you really enjoyed the Zoom In week and learned something. And hopefully today put a smile on your face. And we really want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Stay safe and be well. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.